right, so here we go. So I'm thinking what we'll do is I'll introduce some stories and see if your memory is anywhere close to my memory.
All right.
So my favorite Dwayne Hall story is that we both had older brothers, and that these older brothers would go out of state and buy a big old firecrackers you couldn't get here.
Right.
And so then
Firecrackers, period.
you and I then would steal them, but just, one or two at a time. We'd steal them from our older brothers, and generally we would share. But you son of a gun, one day I hear you up the hill and you're blowing up firecrackers. You ain't sharing them with me. So I go running up the hill.
I was bogarting the firecracker.
You were, and what you were doing was that Bill had told you to get the dog poop off the lawn, and you were getting it off the lawn by aerating it. You'd aerate these piles of dog poop with a big old firecracker.
That was an effective way.
And just as I got there, you are saying, get back, get back. You said, the fuse has gone out on this one. And whatever was left did not qualify as a fuse. It was an igniter. And you lit it, it ignited, and it blew dog poop all over you. So you got down on the grass and started pulling yourself along to wipe it off.
I remember that.
So I'm telling the story accurately.
That's an accurate
It's
depiction.
good, yes. So I climbed up a tree to keep an eye on things, at a safe distance. So a couple months after that, this is a confession. So I'm confessing that I was a dog turd to you. I said to Bill one day, did you ever wonder what that brown spray is all over the side of the house? He says, yes, I did wonder. And I said, so I explained the story to him, and he just got this pained look like, Jesus, how do I stay ahead of that kid? How do I stay ahead?
Oh, man.
I mean, you're a dad now, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we both know we can feel his pain.
Certainly.
At this late remove. What, 55 years?
Yeah,
we feel his pain. Poor Bill. Okay, so anything you can add to that story?
No, you summed it up really well.
All right, well then I remember another story was that we used to dig holes in our backyard and fill them with water.
Yes, I remember that.
And they were like little swimming holes.
Yes.
And we would get terribly muddy, and so then we'd hose each other down to get the mud off, and we go in the garage to take off our muddy cutoffs. Then we would take a big quilt or something to cover us, and so 5 or 6 little naked boys would run out in the front yard, and then the game was to see who could end up with that quilt and get all the other, push all the other naked kids out of the quilt. You don't remember that?
Vaguely. I don't remember that part of it. I do remember digging the holes and jumping in.
Well, we looked out the window one day, and there was Dwayne's legs sticking out of one of these holes. You were down in there, and when we pulled you out, you had damn near drowned, and you were blue with cold.
Is that right?
Yeah,
honestly, I don't remember that.
Well, it was probably a near-death experience. We took you in the house
Wow.
and warmed you up in the bathtub.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I don't remember a thing about that. That's amazing.
All right, my second favorite Dwayne story is that we had dug a really cool hole right over there about 100 yards away, and then Mom came out, looked at it, and said, fill it in. So I got down in the hole to push dirt back in, and Jeffrey legs over a big rock, drops it in the hole, cuts open an artery in my head.
I remember that.
So you then, because Jeffrey had wounded me,
yes,
you picked up a rock and
absolutely
avenged.
And I hit him in the stomach.
You hit him in the stomach.
In the gut.
And so
so to compound the problem, there's not just one guy hurting, there's 2 guys.
Well, and then you're screaming because you were a high-strung little kid.
Yes.
You were easily...
There's probably truth in that statement.
Easily made hysterical. And so you're running up the hill in hysterics. Jeffrey's crying because of his stomach, and Nathan's got blood pumping out of the top of his head. And Mom, as usual, has to do triage.
Extremely chaotic situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
She handled these. All right, now my third favorite. Now, you got anything to add to that story?
No, nothing whatsoever.
Hey,
I mean,
goddamn, my memory's pretty good.
your memory is excellent. It's much more acute than mine. I can tell you that.
All right,
But
now,
I do remember both incidents.
I'm looking at your lower lip, and I don't see a scar there because
There is. I mean, there's really not bad, but it's pretty much healed.
Yeah.
But I do remember the incident that you're talking about there.
So we're playing 500.
Yes.
And we're both running for a fly ball, screaming, I got it, I got it. And we got it all right. Your face banged into the top of my head. Your lower teeth went through your lower lip. Your upper teeth went into my head. So you're bleeding. Everybody's feeling bad for poor old Dwayne. And we at the picnic table. So we got to take Dwayne in and get him stitches. What about Nathan? So they take a look. Well, I'm going to take Nathan in too. You got like 2 stitches.
Yeah, it wasn't significant.
I got 11 stitches from your upper teeth in my head here.
And I remember that it got infected.
It did. God, it got infected. So it swelled up. First it swelled up this direction. Then it moved down into my forehead. Then it moved down into my eyes and blocked my eyes. And there was one day, about like half a day, I couldn't open my eyes at all. And on the day that I could see a little bit, Dwayne comes to the door, and I open up the door, and you went, ah, 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 and you went screaming, running up the hill. You were a very excitable boy. So, anything you want to add to that story?
No. I do have a story.
Oh, good.
That has to do with the Kirk clan. Remember David McMullen used to live up there at his parents' house. And we would go up there and play work up, and we would play croquet. And I remember we were playing croquet one day, and your dad was up there playing. Jeff was up there. I'm not sure if you were. I don't quite remember that detail, but your dad was bending over to, hit the ball with his mallet, and Jeff took his mallet and thumped your dad in the gonies. Your dad come alive, man. Your dad came alive, and he was swinging his mallet and screaming.
And Jeff took off running.
Jeff was running, and your dad was right behind him. That's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. You know, I could see it developing. I knew what was on Jeff's mind, and I wasn't going to say anything.
I must not have been there.
I don't think you were. but I guess hey dog, what you doing? I guess my question was at the time, there comes a point when Jeff has to go home.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And how's that going to work? Yeah.
How's that going to work out?
Well, that's what I hated about that little son of a bitch. When he would always create trouble, and he could run like the wind.
Oh yeah, he was pretty fast.
And there I'd be standing with my thumb up, like.
I remember times with Jeff. We'd be out playing baseball or something out in the park, and Jeff was always the outlier. We'd be playing baseball, and you had a big tomato patch area. Your dad did. So, what's Jeff do? He goes over there and starts throwing tomatoes at us. So he alienates the whole baseball team down there. So we're out to get Jeff. Kick his ass.
Well, now you won 2 scooters from a radio station.
Yes. 2 Honda 50s.
An amazing accomplishment. But we built a jump, and as I remember, Jeffrey was the only one who could make those things jump because their weight is completely wrong.
Especially a Honda 50
for jumps.
Yeah.
Well, they were scooters, step-through scooters, as I remember.
Well, they were, but they were actual Honda 50s.
Yeah. But I mean, nobody could make a jump with one of those, but Jeffrey could. All right. Let me think here. Oh, I remember then you used to chase the garbage truck down the loop, as it was, or down the alley, And one day a tin can fell off, cut you on top of your head, and I think Mom had to get you to the emergency room and we always just thought that was the funniest damn thing that Dwayne Hall would chase garbage trucks. Yeah, let's see what else.
Well, you know, I look back on my childhood sometimes, and I just got to shake my head.
Oh yeah.
You know, what in the hell were you thinking?
We would be eating dinner, and you would stand for an hour or more hitting rocks with a baseball bat.
Oh yes, I do.
Down at the bottom
I
of our
remember.
lawn toward the highway.
Yes, I do remember that.
You were a menace to society.
Well, you know what? That was now they have other aids, practical aids, to help your hand-eye coordination. But when that I would never miss a rock. I mean,
No, you were really good.
I was really good at that point. I'd toss them up in the air and hit them. Now with my grandson, you know, I would try to hit him flies, and good Lord, man, I had a hard time hitting the ball. You know, what in the world happened? Life, I guess.
Have you ever heard of pickleball?
Yes, I have.
I used to be pretty good at pickleball.
I've never played it.
So when I got my stamina or skill, I don't know what you'd call it. I felt like I got my health back. So I went down to play pickleball, and the guy like hit me 2 balls, and I swung at him, wasn't even close. He hit me a 3rd ball, and I lunged to connect with it and fell flat on the floor and sort of hurt myself. And they got me back on my feet and said, go practice against the wall. So I can't even play pickleball anymore.
Oh wow.
I